All right, so we're going to go through some questions that I had about nutrition, pretty much the majority of them about nutrition and or cycle gear use while critiquing diet. But I got a few questions from some people about glycemic index foods, high and low. What should they have? What shouldn't they have? First off, I'm not a big believer in the glycemic index scale. It goes from 0 to 100. Basically, if it's a very high glycemic index, it says that it's going to spike blood glucose really high, which then you'll have a very high peak and then it'll drop pretty low. So you're going to feel the effects later on. And then a low glycemic index, it's not going to spike the blood sugar that high and it'll just kind of contour back to be stable. And you won't have that big negative rebound effect of like maybe grogginess, headaches, sluggish, sleepy, or even hypoglycemic. So the reason why I don't believe in it is because this index was made solely eating that carbohydrate alone on an empty stomach, no food prior to consuming that carbohydrate. So, for example, like white rice, very high glycemic index, but that's only if you're eating it by itself. Like you're not going to, whether you're an average Joe or a bodybuilder, fitness competitor, you're not going to go and just eat a bowl of rice and be like, oh, that's it. You're usually pairing up with something like protein for sure, if you're a bodybuilder or someone who wants to build muscle and lose body fat. Or other cultures will pair it up with a fat and uh, um, and then the rice. What the protein and the fats do is it slows down that glycemic spike. So it's not going to go as high as they say. So whether it be listed as like a 97, which is kind of like white rice is usually around that area, it's not going to be that high. Like you're not going to have that effect. And you can even see it like on a continuous glucose monitor if you have one of those. And again, everyone's different as well, so I understand this. But we're talking about an individual who's even type 2 diabetic. If you pair it up with something with protein, is my first choice, and then maybe like 5 grams of fat, you're not going to see that huge spike and huge dip. So and I really don't like foods like brown rice or oatmeal to a certain point, because especially brown rice, because it has a husk on the outside, and that husk is very hard for the body to digest. And sometimes that's a little bit too much roughage and it may cause bloating. But again, you're not eating brown rice by itself. So the list of glycemic index foods, I would say you don't really need to pay attention because you're always going to pair it up with a protein, always. So I would just take that and throw it out the window. And I know the medical field still uses it. It's the same, they do dumb things, right? The army still uses the BMI index, right? So like I've had someone come to me needing to like lose weight, and they're definitely overweight with fat. But then you also have the other extreme to where these guys have muscle on them and they're still obese or overweight. Like I'm overweight on the BMI index. So I would have to lose muscle, which is bad for me. Like, what do you want me to do? Throw myself into rhabdomyolysis? Like, so just because the doctors say this, there are behind. The same reason why the American Heart Association still follows 1950 regulations and protocols. That's just the way they are. They haven't changed the process of thinking, and it's only going to take AI to make them do it. So again, uh, again, this isn't medical advice. This is entertainment and just my opinion. So, all right. Got someone asking about their diet. They're 50 years old, 6'1", 220 pounds. They work out 6 to 7 days a week, heavy lifting. I don't know what that means. And they work in construction, lots of walking, lots of lifting. Again, I don't know what you're lifting. And I don't know how many steps you're taking. And if you're inside or outside. So, okay, all those, I would need to know the specifics. Started back in the gym roughly a year ago, starting weight was 242 pounds. Within 3 months was around 235, no change to diet, but lots of lifting, cut down on sugar and bread and then went down to 230 pounds. This is not measuring calories, just a rough idea of protein. Uh, Maybe he's eating 230 grams of protein. Yeah, I think so. So not 230 pounds. The last 3 months I've taken in Grammar. The last 3 months, I took it more seriously, measuring everything, my maintenance calorie. Like, what are you measuring? Are you measuring grams or are you measuring ounces? Uh, my maintenance calorie on most calculators is between 2,900 and 3,200. I've been in a deficit for 3 months. So I don't know how much you're eating before because you didn't calculate how much you're eating before. So we don't know what that deficit is. Daily calories. Okay, so now, oh, so that's just plugging in. It's better to calculate it before. Don't trust these algorithms uh, from Chronometer and MyFitnessPal. Daily calories at 2,500 on average. Can be as low as 2,200 or as high as 2,700, which is fine because again, day by day doesn't really mean anything. Week by week, it means something. Protein is around 250 grams a day. Haven't measured carbs, but it would be low. Some sugar in recipes, but not much bread, pasta, or rice. The odd time in a meal. Oatmeal every morning. I am now 219 pounds. Target is 210 pounds. My lifts are maintaining, plateaued on some exercises, feeling tired throughout the day, even with adequate rest. And although my waist and body have definitely lost fat, I'm not packing on as much muscle as I would like. Um, so should he be upping the calories closer to maintenance, or is he able is he able to still build muscle while in a deficit? Uh, he wants to build more muscle without gaining back the fat that he lost. So in this situation, those things that I mentioned before, I need to know. But I mean, I would say, so here's the thing. If you're feeling tired and sluggish and you've had some plateaus and some exercises, you do need to up your calories. Okay. First of all, you should have measured to see what your calories were the week before you even started dieting. So then we can make an educated decision on how many calories to drop per day, and then also a food diary, food log, so we can know which ones, like what macronutrient needs to drop as well. Should it be fats, carbs, or protein? Definitely not protein. Hint. You're not going to be able to build muscle in a deficit unless you are severely obese and where your body will utilize the fat stores as energy, or you are a very new person into the gym, but that ability to build muscle is through stimulation from the gym and your body being able to process the nutrition, but you're not going to be able to build muscle efficiently, nor for a long period of time. It's probably going to be for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then you're going to plateau, right? And then you're going to look bigger, maybe because you're losing body fat. So you have the appearance of looking bigger. Uh, so like, if you ever seen people on Instagram and they're shredded and they look huge, but then you meet them in person and they're like not huge. So that's kind of the same idea. When you see someone on a bodybuilding stage, they look huge on an amateur bodybuilding stage, like the NPC. But then you go down and you shake their hand. They are very fragile during that time, and they're a lot smaller than what you think. Now, when you're a professional, those guys are big on stage as they are off the stage. Um, so I would definitely up my calories to where you see some sort of progress in your energy throughout the day, because the last thing you want to do is not be able to work efficiently, because work brings the money in. The working out does not bring money in, nor does looking good bring money in for you. Okay. You definitely need to get at least a minimum of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and up to 1.5, so 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And for you, since you have uh, an active job and you're working out 6 to 7 times a week with heavy lifting, which you're definitely not lifting heavy if you're working out that many times, plus doing construction, you're just not. I'm sorry. Or your form sucks, and so you're not actually contracting the muscle. You do need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your friends. Carbs do not add on body fat. Overall calorie consumption, being in a surplus for a long period of time, is going to make you gain body fat. But you're active, you're physically active, you're in the gym, so you're not going to gain as much body fat um, while you're building muscle, right? The carbohydrates are needed for you because you need that immediate energy right away. I would say up the carbs. I don't know where your fats are because again, that's a huge macronutrient on here. Because if you don't have enough fat, and I don't know if you're natural or not, but the fats will help with your endocrine system, so creating hormones. Also helps with like, joint integrity as well. So does the protein, like the amino acids from it. So the you can eat bread, you can eat pasta, rice, totally fine. This is old school thinking. You're 50 years old, I understand. And again, age doesn't mean anything. It comes down to metabolic health. How healthy are you at that age? Because age is just a number. If we look at scans or metabolic panels that you've done, we can see that some 60-year-olds are in better health and have a biological age lower than maybe a 30-year-old or 40-year-old. All right, let's see. Another question might sound stupid, but I don't know. I don't like cooking. Don't know these fancy recipes, and it's consuming and it's time consuming, and I'm struggling to get enough meat in. I've only tasted a little bit of raw meat, and I think it tastes better than cooked. So just wondering if anybody's experienced this best meat to eat. Well, will I absorb the nutrients the same, et cetera? I'm not talking about eating raw chicken. I was more down the lines of minced meat, maybe dudes from the UK, as long as I can eat a tub of mince or something while absorbing the protein, not getting sick. I would not do that. That's just a bad idea. I mean, raw, you can eat like tartar, like steak tartare and stuff, but there's an acidic component to it that can neutralize bacteria. Sushi is another option, but again, you have a high risk of either mercury if you're doing like tuna or high risk of parasites. So you might need something like an ivermectin to get rid of the parasites. I just would cook your meat, man. You're making it sound difficult. You don't need fancy recipes. You just cook the meat, and then your flavor is sauce. Freaking put the meat. It's already minced, man. It's ground beef, so just cook it up and then throw in whatever seasoning you want, or just put on whatever. If you're dieting, low calorie sauce. If you're not dieting, whatever sauce you want on top of it. Put that meat on a bed of rice or freaking noodles, whatever you want to do, man. That's the way to go. I wouldn't eat meat raw. And and I don't know if the nutrient absorption is the same. I would probably think the one thing that would mitigate nutrient absorption would just be because you're sick, like you have food poisoning or you have parasites. So I would just avoid that all completely and cook your meat and stop crying about spending a little bit of time in the kitchen. It doesn't take that long to cook. You can easily meal prep for 3 to 4 days in 1 hour. Your meat and if you want to do veggies, I would say rice. Get a rice cooker, throw in rice every morning, and just let that thing. You fill up your containers before you leave, and then let it sit on warm. So when you get home, you have warm rice to eat. It might be a little crunchy on the bottom, but crunchy rice is really good. A lot of people like order that from restaurants. So um, it and it's nothing. It's like nothing like gastro scientific. Like you don't have to be someone on Food Network. Just just freaking throw some seasoning on, like some rubs on your meat, and then throw it on the grill. Or I have a griddle, and outside. So instead of a grill, I have a griddle just because you're able to cook a lot of different things on there, whether it be vegetables or if you want to do pancakes, you can do that if you're feeling fancy. But I just find that if you're eating fattier pieces of meat, it's less likely to cause a fire on the grill because it's on a flat surface and then it goes to the drain and catches all that grease. But you still get the char marks on there if you want the char marks. Totally a fan of that. Yeah, even if it may cause cancer, which that's not definitive. You just are fear mongering if you think that. But it takes like an hour. You can literally listen to a podcast. You can listen to a show. You can watch a show. You can talk to someone. You maybe talk to your spouse, talk to your kids. Uh, yeah, how about that? Like it does, and you're not like consistently. You don't have to sit there and stare at the meat as it's cooking. So going back to this guy complaining about minced, like just eating raw meat because too time um, it's too it takes too much time to cook meat. You're not sitting there watching it. Like you can go and do something else. Like I can like, geez, I feel like people just create problems in their life and excuses so that they don't do something. Um, yeah, just meal prep. Um, okay, so last year I was going through a rough patch, so I decided to improve myself and hired a nutritionist and physical therapist. Starting stats, he's 38, 6'1", 89 kilograms, 20% body fat, lifts 3 to 4 times a week, cardio 2 times a week. I don't know what cardio means, how long. My nutrition since June last year has been, whoa, that's low. 1,500 calories. This is a female. 130 protein, 130 grams of protein, 60 to 80 grams of carbs. 20 of that is sugar, 3 liters of water, and again, no fat. I don't know where the body fat is on this one. So, or the dietary fat. I was wondering. So 1,600. Okay. So fat's around 73 grams of fat is what I'm getting with that total calorie intake. So, this might be a woman. I don't know. If it's a man and no, it can't be a woman. You're 6'1". Uh, and you're 6'1", 195. Okay. Um, you need to up your food. Um, I couldn't do any more on such limited calories and wouldn't tailor anything. He's now 39. He's 75 kilograms and around 12% body fat. 75 times 165. That's you're way too small. Like I'm 6 foot and I've I just had surgery on the first. So this is 8 days later. I lost him like 10 pounds and what was that yesterday? So I had to go back to the doctor because some complications. So like within a few days, I lost 10 pounds. And that's with me doing nothing. Um, and while eating. So like my steps were like under 500 a day for sure. And uh, eating food. So you're way too thin. You're 165, you're 6'1", 12% body fat. You're probably more. Even if you got a DEXA scan, sometimes those are wrong just because it goes by fluid in the muscle. So if you're well hydrated, it'll inflate that the muscle density. Yeah, man, just up your calories, up your protein, up your carbs. Fats are fine. Again, I don't know if you're natural or not, but you're looking at 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight for you. 1 to 2 grams of carbs per pound of body weight would be great, and then zero point 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight. That's how I would do it, and I would meal prep. And so you don't have any excuses. You can either put them in individual containers, or like what I do, I just keep them in large containers. If I have excess that I'm not going to eat, I'm going to put it in freezer bags, put them in the freezer. So then whenever I run low, I pull them out of the freezer, let them thaw, and then I have it to continue my meal prep. That's all it is. Pretty freaking easy. And I don't go out to eat. I don't remember the last time we went out to eat. Maybe it's like 2 months ago on a date, and I don't eat fast food. So, and I don't eat a processed food really. Like I have like wild chips, which are awesome. Quest chips, maybe a Quest bar here and there. Some beef jerky, you know, protein shake. That's pre-bottled from Raw or Labrada. That's pretty much it, man. Like I don't eat a lot of processed food. Yeah, I, get bigger. If you're 6 foot and you're working out, um, you got to be bigger than 165, man. Sorry. Uh, Eat the same meals every day, and my only fat I get is from 10 eggs and the little olive oil I use to cook. I feel great, but I'm wondering if it's going to harm me in any way. Uh, no, that's fine, man. Eggs are great. The yolk and everything. The yolk has a lot of choline in there, a lot of EFAs. essential fatty acids, really cognitive protective, heart protective, and that's just is increasing your dietary lipids, which if you eat those within 12 hours of getting the blood test, your cholesterol numbers will be manipulated a bit, be inflated, but that's just a false positive for that. So once, all right, it's getting hot. Let's see. It's full diet. Well, now I'm wondering. Um, okay, yeah. For breakfast, 250 grams of oats, 36 grams of whey protein. Um, I would like to know if it's whey concentrate or whey isolate. I prefer whey isolate if you're going to use it, just because it's really thin, and it's more easily digested and handled by people who may have lactose intolerance, or just to reduce any type of bloating, especially if you're putting in oats, which already cause some voluminous activity in your stomach, which may cause bloating. So you can do oats or you can do cream of rice, and whichever you handle better and will keep you satisfied. But still, I would add the protein in there like that would be great. It adds flavor as well. And you can even make overnight oats, or you can make overnight chia seed pudding with that. So look it up on the internet, how you make it, or just wing it. It's hard to mess up. Lunch and dinner, I eat twice from this. So he eats the same foods. 250 grams of parboiled rice, 100 grams of mountain lentils, 10 eggs with yolk, the best quality you can find, 500 grams of veggies. And he's on a bulk. So that's not a, I mean, that's a lot of fat, but it's not a lot of food. First off, I would say that there's an issue with this, and this issue is there's no diversity in food. So the last thing we really want to do is not have diversity because that will ruin your gut diversity, gut microbiome. So we want to have a variety of different vegetables, a variety of different foods, and not just stick on the same thing over and over time because that might increase your IgG or IgA or IgI, so like your immune response to these foods, and it may cause you to be intolerant to those things. So a lot of people in the fitness industry, they like chicken, rice, broccoli back in the day, right? Well, there's a lot of people that overconsume chicken, and then now they have an allergy that will pop up or an intolerance to chicken. Same thing with egg whites. It's where they're totally fine eating it, but then all of a sudden they get so bloated and distended in the gut that they're like, I haven't changed anything in my diet. It's all the same. That's because you destroyed your gut microbiome. So I would say change up your foods. You can do this in rotation with every meal prep. Um, and then veggies. It's a there are veggies that I'll eat like for example like right now we're eating a lot more broccolini. We have onion. We have uh, tricolored peppers. We have carrots or tricolored carrots. Our fruits are going to be like blackberries, strawberries, blueberries, opal, apples, barlet, pears. Um, we use chives. Uh, I'll ferment cabbage for like coleslaw. We have Brussels sprouts. Um, that's kind of, and then we still have, lettuce and or spinach here and there. But it's really, if you really want to maximize this, since you're eating the best quality you can, eat the vegetables that are in season, right? So, during the winter, there's a reason why the land grows squash so well. It's because it has nutrients that are going to be more protective for your body during that time. So eat in the season. That's a good way to also save a few dollars because typically there's overabundance of food in the grocery stores, and so they're going to have it on a discount. Whereas when blueberries are not in season, you see a pint go up to $8, right? Versus when they're in season, they're like 99 cents. So you save money in the long term, but then now you have a seasonal food rotation, which now your gut microbiome can also benefit from. So better gut microbiome, the better your digestion is going to be, the better the absorption of the food is going to be, the better your immune system is going to be, and the better your cognitive function is going to be. Everything is that link from your gut to your brain. It's going to be improved 100%. Um, I don't know where I'm at on time. I don't see a timer. Um, cholesterol question. Let's see. Um, I'm 31, 225 pounds, around 14% body fat, probably more. Generally, people like they say they're less body fat. Usually, if you say in my in my experience, people are usually 5 to 10% more body fat than what they say they are. Um, Generally very healthy, lifting weights 4 times a week, sporadically play volleyball, basketball, do some light cardio once a week, eat mostly whole foods and 1 to 2 alcoholic drinks a week, or take the alcohol out. I do eat on average a quarter to half a pound of grass-fed beef a day, 3 to 4 eggs per day. The number is ApoB, which is the more important for your cholesterol, the ApoA and lipoA. So 110 milligrams per deciliter. That's not concerning. That's a little bit high. LDL 131. That's high. Lipo-A 31. Non-HDL 150. Total HDL. So total cholesterol to HDL ratio is 4.3. Ooh, that's a little bit higher. So I prefer to be like 2.5. So reading. How would you handle this diet adjustments, more cardio supplements, etc.? Take out the alcohol. First off, take out the alcohol for sure. Supplement wise, just natural supplements. I would do citrus bergamot is a big help. Um, yeah, citrus bergamot. Let's see. Um, I would go back to a really good soil-based probiotic. Again, I believe that whatever happens in your gut is going to affect the rest of your body. So a lot of metabolism of fats and such are going to be going through your gut, which then helps with your lipid profile. But the citrus bergamot for sure with that. You know, I would say red yeast rice, but that's because they used to have a natural statin that's in there. But I think the red yeast rice now doesn't have it anymore. So I would say you're not going to get really the benefit of that. So I would also go with glandulars as well. So like a good glandular product. Um, Vitamin D, nattokinase, omega 3s. They go heavy on the omega 3s. Um, so, uh, with this numbers this bad, and I don't know what your triglycerides are. So it's kind of weird that you got all this without a triglyceride. Because that would see if you're also like diabetic. Um, but 6 grams of fish oil spread throughout the day, morning and at night. So if you can split it and take it during the afternoon, that's fine. A very high EPA amount on the fish oil, but citrus bergamot, fish oil, get rid of the alcohol, uh, fast. And if you can do fasted cardio in the morning, that's awesome. Or just intermittent fast. Intermittent fasting or full day of fast. I mean, you have that nice 48 hour to 72-hour fast really destroys visceral body fat, but it really helps those numbers for your cholesterol. But that would, because how else do you fast? Not many people fast because they don't want to go without food because we would die without food for 48 hours or 72 hours. Just fast, man. It's going to be good for your health. There's a reason why people in other cultures live longer, that it's normal to fast. All right, last one. Um, I hate eating during the day. I feel like eating makes me very tired and unmotivated. I have been doing OMAD for about 6 months. It's the best I've ever felt for years. I fast for 22 to 23 hours. Ah, there you go. And then eat 35 to 4,000 calories. I don't know if that's really good for you. Because again, I don't know what you're eating. I don't know what food you're eating. This would make sense if you're nomadic and we killed an animal and then you ate the fat and the meat. Uh, but if you're having Doritos in here, I don't think it's good. I know this will sound discussing my food in one sitting, especially after 22, 23 hour fast. This is a surplus for me. The issue is I just don't grow. I love eating the style, but I'm not growing. It's a waste. Would 2 meals be enough to grow? Fast for 16 hours on a protein-rich meal. Uh, I've tried different meals and all seem to make me tired. All different types: high carb, high protein, high fat, low carb. I can't afford to be sluggish. Would an EAA drink during the day be enough to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. I would prefer not to eat, but I also hate not growing. Well, I have no facts about you. So like, how big are you? I don't know what foods you're eating during that one meal a day. And no, you're not going to grow eating that way. That is a way that you can maintain your muscle after you've built the foundation. So an open bodybuilder that's a pro, they can do this to maintain body weight for a good amount of time, and as long as they're working out and such, because they've already built the foundation and their body just needs the calories. Now, if you want to build muscle, nutrition timing is a big thing. So in the morning, you got to have something to eat. You know, your cortisol is high. You've also been fasting the entire time that you've been asleep. So let's go ahead and start the anabolism and let's bring in some food. So protein. If you want to avoid feeling sluggish later on, so if you're not working out in the morning, so protein and fat in the morning, good idea for me. If you're working out after work, 9 to 5, I would say you also your next meal would be protein, carbs, and then like 5 to 10 grams of fat. And then I would do like a intro workout. So if you want to drink your EAAs, then also throw in maybe a little bit more carbohydrates in that drink. That would be great. Uh, and then after your gym, you have another meal of high protein, high carbs, no fat, right? No fat at all. And then at night, before you go to bed, before you start this fasting while you're in bed sleeping, I would have protein and fat, or protein and like 10 grams of fat. But then my carb source would be like a fruit. Fruit seems to like blueberries for some reason seems to be able to help with calming the body down and helping you get into a better sleep. Um, don't go in depth about glucose versus fructose. It's going to get stored. Fructose gets stored in the liver. Yeah, but fructose also helps with upregulation and absorption of glucose into the muscle cells. It's not, it's nutrition and physiology is not textbook. It can't be because we're all different. Okay. Um, so that's a minimum of 4 meals plus an intro workout. So that's 5 technically, because EAAs technically have a little bit of calories in there. And if you're throwing in carbs, that's calories. That would be what I would do. That's 4 solid meals and then an intro EAA and carbohydrate. That's what you're going to need to grow. You cannot grow on like building muscle efficiently and optimally. You can't build it doing it these fad ways. These are okay every now and then, again, to fast. I said it's totally fine to fast. That's to reset your gut. Or if you've been eating so much food that you're tired of eating, then I would say have a day or 2 days where you cut down calories or a day of fasting and then a low calorie day and then go back to normal eating. That's a way to stimulate appetite so you can continue to get your meals in. That's totally fine. So and again, that's not a diet break. That's just resetting your digestive system, because your digestive system never sleeps, never does. It never gets a day off. And it doesn't complain. Well, actually, it does when you have like diarrhea. So I guess that's its complaining. Um, so yeah, what you're doing, OMAD, it's all for kicks and giggles. It's for clickbaits and just being gluttonous. And I think it's a way that people um, they what's the word? They um, they justify their eating disorder, so they can film it and get some clicks on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok of them eating so much food. Um, I just think that's a very gluttonous and eating disorder kind of way. Uh, I'm not a big fan of it. So that's that's it. All right, I'll go through some more questions on the next video.